Welcome to Disrupt You. This is the show where we'll hear what changes are headed to colleges and universities in all departments. We'll learn what innovation really means in higher education.
And the millions watching around the world on HBO pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
Who is ready? Who is ready? This is the showdown episode. Welcome to Disrupt You. I hope you're ready to rumble with us because we are going to go head to head today on some serious and not so serious topics. You ready? You ready, Dustin?
You know what? I've been stretching for a good 4 hours. I've got my debate topics in my so our listeners know. So full transparency, we know the topics, but we know that we disagree. We pick topics we knew we disagreed, but we did not go in detail about like our specifics of these topics. So we know we're going to disagree. We've got a hot list of higher ed things that we disagree. Erin, I know I've heard from our listeners in the past that they enjoy us debating. What does that say about our relationship? That they like to hear us debate?
I don't know. I mean, I think that means that this is the perfect place for us. Like we go back and forth a lot. We disagree a lot. We agree on a lot of things, but there's some things we disagree on. So I'm excited to give the listeners what they want, you know?
Yep.
A total knockout punch right to Dustin.
I want to hear it. If you're watching us YouTube, in the comments, if you're listening on the podcast, tweet us, let us know your take. Like, whose side are you on? Do you have a completely different take on any of these subjects? I want to hear from you as well.
All right. We've got about 5 rounds today. Like I said, some more serious than others, but we'll start with a gentle round. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Gentle.
Creamy versus crunchy peanut butter.
Okay.
Where are we at with this?
Okay, we're so real easy. I'm a creamy peanut butter. Creamy. Just get straight to the point. Why can you go against it?
And you're wrong. The thing is, you're wrong. Crunchy peanut butter is where it's at. It's the way peanut butter was meant to be had. And I'm going to go as far as saying extra crunchy peanut butter is actually where it's at. So I'm team crunchy. You're team creamy.
Okay. All right. So we know where we stand on the crunchy versus creamy, but Erin, let's get what the viewers want. The viewers want us to get into the higher ed stuff, right? The meaty stuff. Okay. What are we thinking? Give us our next round.
Okay. Round 2, more serious. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A on college campuses. There's a lot of campuses that have a Chick-fil-A. I know a lot of campuses that want a Chick-fil-A. The students want it. Let's talk about if you are pro Chick-fil-A on campus or against it.
110. I am a number 2 spicy chicken sandwich fiend. I am for it. Now, I get what you're saying, and I don't want to take your glory. Do they make business choices and values that I support? No, they don't whatsoever. But man, that chicken sandwich, Erin, why? Why should they not be allowed on campus?
I'm going to go hard at you right now because it's super easy to say if like their choices don't impact you, right? Okay. So easy to say like, oh yeah, I love okay. Chick-fil-A, I always say this, awesome customer service if you feel like you're welcome at their business. So there's a ton of people and a ton of our students who just don't feel welcome at Chick-fil-A. So if as a campus, one of our values is inclusivity, how are we excluding a huge portion of our campus? Right? Yeah. And not even if you're a part of the LGBT community, but you love someone that's part of the LGBT community, you know? I know, I just can't imagine, what does that say to that student when you say, yeah, we're fine with overlooking the decisions they've made. This isn't like, do we want a Taco Bell or a Burger King on campus who haven't had those types of issues at that scale? This is like, we just don't give a crap that you feel that way. And we're going to do it anyway, because the majority of the students like the spicy chicken.
Okay.
I'm not saying their spicy chicken's bad. I'm just saying their business choices as a whole haven't been awesome to everyone.
All right, let's look at Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A is not a sponsor of ours. Maybe someday, but Erin will not allow
I've killed that now. I'm sorry.
They will not be a sponsor because Erin. Okay, historically, they have come out very specifically, right? As you say, an LGBTQ, they have taken back from that in recent 5-8 years. They have taken back from that. They are still very Republican. They're very Republican based. Their values, they still speak on that. They're not vocal on in the most recent history. If you go back, right, 10 years, absolutely, on gay rights, et cetera, et cetera. Today's world, they're very Republican valued, though. I'm saying that we have to bring them in. I've said this before, where we have to, as higher ed specifically, we have gotten into a silo, and I'm a openly Democrat. I've worked for the Obama campaign. But I even know that it's not healthy to only voice those opinions, right?
I'm right there with you. I am right there with you.
Yeah. So if we look at historically of companies, though, that means if I'm going on your take of Chick-fil-A shouldn't be on campuses because of what they did 10 years ago on gay matters and policies and the issue.
But I still think things are coming up. Like, we saw this in the last campaign. We saw who they supported. Like, and I'm not even talking about from a Republican. I'm talking about anti-gay groups. And again, if I ask my students, they're still hurt by it. So it can't be that it was just 10 years ago, because these students 10 years ago were 8 years old. So if my students are still hurt by it, I'm still having concerns about it.
Okay.
I'm not saying a company can't heal or can't get better, but you've got to do the work. I'm not going to do the work for you as the college campus. You're the company. Fix it. And once my students say it's fixed, then I'm happy to have you here.
I hear what you're saying. I think we've gotten too much. And I think I'm even trying cognizantly to think about this cancel culture of,
Me too.
We're overdone it at this point. We've gone over the line of canceling organizations, canceling individuals, things of that nature. Yes, if they are openly going out and saying, we're not going to serve you because you are gay or if you represent it in this way, absolutely, done. I don't want anything to do with you. They're
Absolutely,
not to that extent.
Yeah.
Their founder did say some bad things. I agree with that. But the founder of a lot of companies did a lot of bad things, right?
They say bad things.
I think we got to live in today. We got to be inclusive, as you say, right? And lean across the aisle. Lean
I agree. And there are a lot of Republican facing restaurants that I would be happy to have in my campus.
Okay.
But I don't think they sit the same way with students. I hear what you're saying. I do think we've got to find a more middle ground in higher ed, because I think we're like from a numbers business, we're going to end up turning away half of our potential customers. I mean, we've got to find a way to be somewhere in the middle and to be more neutral. I really truly do believe that. I just think there are other options that aren't as hurtful to our students. And there's tons of fast food restaurants that are Republican, like they support Republican candidates. I'm not against that. I think this specific one hasn't healed enough, at least what I'm hearing from students. That's where I'm at.
I think time.
Okay. Okay.
Let's move on. What about
you? Go to the next one. Let's hear it.
Okay. All right. Let's go on the innovation side. Okay. Round 3 of this battle. I want. I know I'm going to get beat up already. I'm already trying to juke and jive these punches. Listen, Erin. At the end of the day, I want a VIP upgrade to higher education that is optional. I'll give you an example. Statistically, the top 1% in the United States pay for more college than the bottom 60%. The 1% pay for more college. So what I want to do, I want to make college more inclusive. That is more affordable, more easily attainable, right? You can get in. Financial barriers should not be the reason you don't go to college. There could be other reasons, but financial should not be. So how can we do this in a tangible way? We need to give out scholarships, multicultural scholarships. We need to bring in underrepresented individuals to be our students. So what we're going to do to pay for all of that college and scholarships is this. we're going to offer a Disney Plus, a luxury option on top of your month or your semester tuition that says like you pay the extra amount, you get the dorms with a lazy river, and you get a dorm with a fireplace, and you get your own parking spots, and you get luxury things. Now we're going to overcharge the crap out of you. A spot doesn't mean anything to us, right? We'll make so much more off this lazy river if we charge the 1%. But with that money we get, yes, there's a disparity. And I hear what you're saying. It's the haves and haves not. But guess what? I would rather not have the lazy river and get a college education that can create generational wealth for myself and my family. Where am I wrong on this, Erin? Where am I wrong?
Ugh, this feels so cringy to me. Like,
okay,
I do get you're trying to generate revenue from the richest to help pay. I totally get that. But on the same campus, oh God, that feels so separate but equal. It feels so like backwards to me and cringy. And I can't get past how cringy it feels. Like, can you imagine like on the exact same campus, like if I have to go live in the poorhouse and you get to go live in the lazy river house, like that feels so weird to me.
Is this much different than paid parking? I went to SEMO. SEMO, you paid for how close you parked. If you parked in the fancy parking lot that had like brand new parking lot, new benches and like flowers all over it, or there was what's called literally the pig lot. That's what it was called, was gravel. And you paid like $20. I forget how much it was.
So
like,
are you saying because you went through it, it's fine? Like, I don't get that argument.
Every university does it at this level. How's it any different? It happens already. This have and have not.
It definitely does happen already. I think we should be working to like, I don't know. This just feels, I can't put my finger on it. It just feels cringy. It feels cringy. And you know, part of the reason why it feels cringy is because that's how the real world is. And it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's part of it, is that like, I want people to come to college to feel hope and like promise for the future, and to come and feel like, well, shit, this is how I felt my whole life. The rich kids have what they need and I don't. And I don't know. Like, I get where you're going with it. I don't think you're in a bad place with it. I just can't,
cringy.
I can't wrap my brain around it. It feels like putting all of the problems we have in society and throwing them on our campus on purpose, even in a more like rigorous way. But I hear what you're saying. Like, how do we get more? Like, maybe there's a sliding scale tuition payment. Like, maybe we go to like we do have Pell Grants, and that's like, that's what I think the government has done on that side around sliding scale. So like, if your EFC is low, then we're going to give you more money. Maybe we do that on our end. Like, maybe we say everybody has the same environment and it's a sliding scale based on how much you make. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's the opposite of what you're saying. Like, everyone gets Disney Plus, but you all pay a different fee for it, like depending on how much you make. Now I'm getting into some weird shit too. So that might feel a little cringy also.
Remember when Panera did I don't know if they still do this, but they
pay what you can.
Yeah, the system, but for college education. I mean, I like
I'm not saying that's right either. Mine feels a little cringy too. Like, I'm sure like there are people like, like that's wrong too. I don't know where the right answer is, but I don't know. It just feels a little elitist to me.
And I agree what you're saying. The moment you roll this out, I can imagine whatever school does this, the local news would eat you alive with exactly what you're saying. The elitist at X university. Here's the response. Here's your response as a president of a university. You say, well, I'll be sure to say that to the 2,000 students who weren't able to pay for college that are now getting a degree in engineering and in healthcare and being a teacher. I'll be sure to tell them that their education wasn't worth your cringiness. I'll tell them that right now. Ooh.
Yeah, I just think there's got to be a better way than like rubbing money in people's face.
Yep, I hear you. I hear you.
There's got to be a better way.
What my only question to end this segment,
I am not let's be clear, I'm not anti lazy river. I'm pro lazy river anywhere.
Yep.
But I want everyone to have access to the lazy river. That's just what I need in life. Okay.
We'll go to the next one, but okay. I hear what you're saying. It is cringy, but until someone comes up with an alternate solution to give those,
I just did.
the sliding scale to Panera. You're gonna give that the Panera.
I didn't say you didn't have to pay anything. I just said,
sliding scale. Okay, all right. I think our next round is a little similar, but goes on that same innovation. What's our next round, Erin?
Okay, next round. I don't feel like I don't know that I'm going to win this round because I don't know that I'm hardcore about either side yet, but let's see how it goes. Okay. Let's talk subscription-based higher education. Are we pro it? Or are we against it?
I am pro it, but it has to be a different model.
Talk to me more.
The idea of making you just take your current classes and make that a subscription model. No, it has to be a completely different product. It needs to be a new product where, who's killing it right now? Microsoft. Microsoft is killing it right now in education. And Erin, we've said this on this podcast many times. There are sharks in the water, and not even circling anymore, of higher education. They are eating. Yep. These sharks are eating. And by these sharks, I mean big tech. Big tech is eating higher education. And
Google has those certs. It's all subscription based through Coursera, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Give them just 2 more years of figuring out what works and what doesn't. What happens when they say, okay, here's a subscription service. There's your cloud computing that you're interested in, but also, hey, taxes are coming up. We're going to teach you how to do that. Oh, you're interested in LLC? We'll help you do that. You want to create a trust? That's this new model of education where it's all encompassing, not a major specifically, which a major, sure, you can get your bachelor's or master's, but you can get all of this other stuff associated. Are you against or for that?
So I'm not anti-subscription model. I just haven't figured out how to wrap my brain around it. So right now I'm struggling with the fact that Microsoft and Google have access to so much technology and, quite frankly, expertise that they're able to just push this out. And I'm worried about higher ed, trying to replicate that instead of trying to create our own thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I think we shouldn't be competing for that. Maybe we do find a subscription-based way to get to a bachelor's degree rather than a subscription-based way to get to a certificate. Not to say certificates aren't bad, but if we truly believe in the bachelor's degree, if we're all in on that as higher ed, I think we have to find a way to, I don't think we're going to be able to compete with a certificate from Google.
No.
We can right now, we could compete against a bachelor's because they're not offering a bachelor's. How do we figure out a subscription-based model that works? I'm concerned. My biggest concern is that it might actually slow down the speed to completion, because right now, while I don't believe semesters will always be here and they're the end all be all, but what they do is they create time-bound experience where most students have to finish. There's a couple exceptions, right? But you have to finish in that 16 weeks or that 8 weeks or whatever the course is set for. And so it keeps students moving. It's like you're done and then the next thing and then the next thing. I'm concerned about how do we create that momentum in a subscription-based model. While I think the hope is that this would speed up the access to education, lower the cost, which it could for some. But remember what we saw when online first came out in higher ed, when there wasn't parameters around it as much, people just didn't do the work and they didn't finish things. Remember? We still struggled with that some in higher ed. And so that's my biggest concern, is how do we do it in a way that still gets people to completion?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. And first we have to just give a shout. There are, organizations doing something similar like WGU and whatnot, but that's all that's the model that I'm not in love with. The WGU model of it's a subscription to get a bachelor's. That's really what it is. I don't love that. I think we're on the same page actually here, where it needs to be a new thing where you take higher ed meets YouTube, meets your favorite entertainment, and you say, here's ongoing education. On the way, you'll accomplish things like gamify it. You'll get a bachelor's degree. You'll get upskilling, but it's enjoyable. It's I enjoy going. I don't know about you. I enjoy going down a rabbit hole on YouTube. And I'll learn about the history of Wolverine or something. I don't know. It's just good content. Let's bring that, right? We got the subject matter experts like no other on these college campuses. How can we use machine learning, AI tools to scale some of this personalization to make you feel like, Erin, you are learning from some of the industry leaders question is, how do we do that? Right.
Yeah. And I think you and I both have had some really good conversations around how does higher ed create a space that is scalable, but you still feel like somebody's hearing you.
Yep.
You know, we both work for pretty small or medium-sized institutions, and that's one of the benefits, you know, is that you know your student and the student knows that you know them, and you're getting actual feedback from a person or maybe a robot later. I don't know. But how do you scale that so that you maybe are in with 500 people, but you still feel like that person knows you. You still feel like if you have a question, you're going to get an answer. So I think this round, we weren't sure where we started. We're kind of landing in the middle. I would love for us to find an expert in this topic and us to learn more. Like that would be really cool. Listeners, if you'd be interested in us finding someone to like tell us more about this, I'm very interested in the topic. I just don't know that I know enough about it, or what are different models that we could even explore as higher ed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. Let's bring someone in.
Okay.
We dive deep into this topic for one full show. I love it. All right.
Okay.
Let's go to that last round, Erin. And you know what? This is the one I've been more excited for than anything. I'm ready to go headhunting right now. What's the last round?
I'm ready.
What are we doing?
I'm ready for this. We are going to do, sorry if you wanted a higher ed one. We're not going there. We're going Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Who is the GOAT? Okay. I mean, I don't know if there's better experts out there besides you and me to determine who the basketball GOAT is.
No,
I just don't know. So where are you at with this? Let's hear it. The listeners want to know.
I'm on the right side. I'm on the correct side. I am on everything in the world is behind the correct answer. The king, LeBron James, is the GOAT, is the best basketball idol of all time. It's not even close. It's not even close. Erin.
And if you can imagine, based on anything that you've learned about us, I am not on that side. I guess I'm on the left side, which whatever. I don't care. You know what? I'm team MJ. He is the greatest of all time. And I'd like to hear why you disagree.
Listen, LeBron played better talent. He has more all-star appearances. He has. Okay. Oh my God. He has more.
You are now dismissing all of the talent in the 90s. Is that what you're doing? You're telling me all that talent was okay. I can't even handle you right now.
It's not to the extent. It's not to the extent of the talent that's out there today. And you know what? You
know what? If any of you 90s people are listening, I'm sure you are. I still believe that your talent might be better. Okay. I'm just saying.
And Michael Jordan is not a good role model. Hey, let's bring it back down. Let's really persuade our listeners. Is Michael Jordan really a good role model for children? I mean, I
didn't ask you who was the greatest of all role models.
He owed a lot of money. He's had some questionable life choices. All right. You can do your Wikipedia research. He made some questionable life choices. LeBron James, he created a school, Erin. He created a school. How could you get better than that? You not like education? I don't know. I don't want to.
Okay. I did not ask you who is the greatest person of all time or the greatest role model of all time. I said, who was the best basketball player of all time? I am sorry. My children do not know nor care who LeBron James is. Okay.
Okay. They
every child in the 90s knew who Michael Jordan was.
We're in a different time period where your kids
okay.
won't
I will give LeBron that. He is in an era of so many choices and so many options that he does get drowned out sometimes. But I can't help it that Michael Jordan was that good. I mean, I just can't.
All right. I mean, that's fine. when Jordan gets to play against, people like myself for a championship, then sure, he can win a lot of championships. But it's just not the same caliber. Not the same caliber, Erin. But you know what?
I don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? No, you tell me how you're gonna end this, and then I'm gonna really end it. Okay.
I feel victorious. I mean, I feel like I want to be humble. I really want to be humble right now. But you know what? It's just the glory is in my eyes right now. Oh man.
Okay.
I can't even tell that with a straight face.
I'm just going to say, if you do not believe me that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, we're going to end this on, this is how the total knockout. I just need you to go watch Space Jam 2. Just go watch Space Jam 2. Or wait, maybe don't, because we already know Michael Jordan, Space Jam. It's where it's at.
Thanks for listening to Disrupt You. Have a question for the host? Just send that over to Dr. York via Twitter at Prof. D. York, and it could be featured on the show. We'll see you next week for another dive into the future of higher education.